Hi, my name is Sarah Marin, and this is my entry into the GWU Forum for International Tourism and the Environment competition. Following the establishment of the 2015 Sustainable Development Goals, the United Nations General Assembly entitled 2017 as the International Year of Sustainable Tourism for Development. While a mouthful, the seemingly lofty declaration had very simple goals in mind: to inspire and support positive consumption, business, and policy changes in the tourism industry under the bastion of sustainability. According to the World Travel and Tourism Council, the tourism sector now makes up approximately 10% of the world GDP and supports 284 million, or 1 in 11 people globally, and these numbers are only expected to demonstrate continued growth over the next decade. As the industry only continues to grow and become more significant, issues with traditional tourism also become more acute, such as pollution, depletion of natural resources, and environmental degradation, to name a few. To combat these problems, initiatives to support sustainable tourism practices have developed, mainly through certification systems that endorse operations that meet defined environmental and performance standards. Today, there are more than 100 certification operations and more than 400 eco-labels available worldwide. With certification systems for sustainable tourism growing in reach and popularity, discussion on whether or not these certifications should be internationally regulated has also emerged. Opponents of international regulation believe that certification systems for sustainable tourism need to be developed and operated to fit geographical, political, socioeconomic, and sectorial characteristics of each country, and therefore cannot be internationally regulated. However, I believe it is possible to create a universal regulatory program using a tiered certification system that focuses on key indicators for sustainability in addition to more specific indicators that can be tailored based on need. International regulation of certification schemes does not need to be one size fits all, but instead can function as a vital tool to establish the framework, procedures, and requirements of certifications around the world. To further demonstrate the potential success of international regulation over another certification method, the platform created by international scale and recognition can create a true international consensus on what the primary goals of certification should strive to achieve. This allows multi-stakeholder representation that incorporates relevant interest groups, private groups, academic institutions, NGOs, consumer associations, and any other relevant interest groups to enter the discourse on sustainable tourism certification. The consensus created is not seen in current programs, which typically prioritize one or more specific aspects of sustainability over another. For instance, if we compare two globally and widely known certification operations, the Blue Flag program seen on the left and Green Key Global seen on the right, it's evident that the Blue Flag program's primary focus is on beach, marine, and boating operations, or the environmental aspect of sustainability, while in contrast, Green Key Global certification prioritizes sustainability for economic growth and community relations, or the social and economic aspects of sustainability. These distinctions may be helpful for operators within the industry, but can also confuse consumers on the veracity behind these credentials. Similar in nature to the Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, or LEED certification, a rated certification system can encourage greater participation by addressing some of the reasons for non-participation in current certification schemes, such as pecuniary and non-pecuniary costs such as time or labor. Additionally, procedures and requirements can be modified to accommodate sectorial characteristics, comparable to LEED certifications for commercial versus residential buildings, while still operating under the internationally determined framework. Moreover, a rated certification system can help create more flexibility for operator participation with substantially more room for growth, and can be extremely beneficial for consumers as it provides a method for standardizing certifications in the same way we use hotel ratings, or 1 through 5, to classify hotels according to their quality. To make these certification schemes viable on a global scale, international regulation can also establish accredited third party certification with authority, competency, capacity, and quality assurance unavailable in any other possible scheme. A voluntary program for accreditation of third party certification bodies to conduct sustainability audits and issue certifications would be able to ensure the proficiency and independence of the accreditation bodies and the third party certification bodies while also providing international consistency. Additionally, this method of international regulation and monitoring is especially important when considering certification in the developing world. According to the World Trade Organization, current voluntary initiatives for sustainable tourism demonstrate heavy reliance on the support of governments when it comes to certification schemes. In a study done in 2003, they determined that 38 of the 59 certification operations studied are led by or draw significant support from government agencies. However, these operations become much less viable in developing nations, which rely heavily on nature based tourism but lack the environmental regulations or financial capacities to support such programs. By creating international regulation and accreditation, the problem of weak regulation can be circumvented, as a government agency, or private third party can become an accreditation body with a structured system already in place to safeguard against conflict of interest. This incorporation of a range of interest groups would also create the ability for pre existing certifications to continue to participate in future certification operations.